Thanksgiving. Hope you had some really tasty turkey and candied yams and whatever else you guys eat at home. I decided today that I wanted to cook something different, make an interesting dessert. It's a Korean twisted bagel. It's covered with sugar and cinnamon and it looks so tasty. It's crunchy, it's sweet, and I'm gonna make it for the first time. So I'm gonna show you and show myself how to make this really cool looking dessert, and I hope it's as tasty as it looks. You know, why wait till we go to somewhere exotic to try their food? I think in the comfort of our own home, you know, if you live in the United States, you probably can get access to all the ingredients, and all the ingredients I'm going to use today are things you can find in your kitchen. Really simple. So come along and we'll go inside the kitchen and I'll show you what we need. Okay, so you're going to need 3 cups of flour, all-purpose flour. And this is going to make the dough. 2 eggs, about half a teaspoon of salt or a pinch of salt to taste, and about 3 tablespoons of sugar, white sugar, 2 tablespoons of butter, some yeast, instant yeast. You can get this in the supermarket. And for the topping, you're going to mix some cinnamon and sugar. So just regular sugar and cinnamon. And this is going to coat the donuts after they've been fried. So of course you're going to need somewhere to fry your donuts. You're going to need 1 cup of milk. So we're going to melt 2 tablespoons of butter in a pot, small pot, and just melt that. So as soon as it starts to bubble, you're going to turn the butter off or take it off the heat and put it to the side. So I'm going to add the 2 eggs. Whisk that. To which we're going to add the milk, 1 cup of milk, and the sugar, and the pinch of salt. Add our melted butter. And you want to make sure it wasn't too hot because you don't want to scramble the eggs. And then whisk that some more. So I've let the mixture sit with the yeast for 5 minutes, and now we're just going to go ahead and start adding the flour, a little bit at a time until you form a dough. The dough, and I put it to rest at room temperature. So you put it to rest at room temperature in an airtight container. So let's see what it looks like an hour and a half later. It should have doubled in size. Okay, so here's the bag, and I put a piece of foil over it. And yes, it has definitely doubled in size. What we're going to do is deflate it and as you can see, it has deflated, and we're going to put this, knead it again gently, and it smells so good. And now we're going to let it sit again for another half an hour. Okay, deflated. Cover it up again, put it back in the bag, and come back in another half an hour. Kenton's opening it for me. It's been sitting for another half an hour, and we're ready to see how much it is grown. Can you see? Yeah, it's grown quite a bit. You want to touch it? You can touch it. It won't bite. Yeah, it is. So we got our dough. It's ready. And the key to making these donuts is to make sure your portions are exactly the right size, exactly equal sizes. So we're going to cut this into 2. And every piece you cut into 2. So now I have 2 pieces, and each piece is going to be cut exactly into half. So cut this into 2. You have to be able to guesstimate accurately. So now I have 2, and now I will cut this into 2. Eventually, when you're done, you should have 16 pieces. Alright, so finally we have our 16 equal portions, and we're going to work with 1 portion at a time. So it's going to make a total of 16 donuts. So while you're working, you're going to put the rest of them aside because you don't want it to dry out. So only work with what you're actually going to be rolling out. So we're going to cover this back, and I'll work with 2 pieces at a time. So you're going to roll out a long piece, about 12 inches long. And you want to make sure you start in the middle and roll it outward. That way the piece is even. So roll it from the middle outward. From one hand you're twisting it in one direction, and the other hand you're twisting it in the opposite direction. So both fingers are going in opposite direction, and then you're going to bring them together, and they automatically start to twist. See that? So put it down, and you're going to gently touch the ends until you get a nice neat rope. Okay, and gently we'll put that to the side and work on the next. In one direction this way, and then twist it in the opposite direction that way, and then when you bring it together it'll naturally start to curve on its own. See? And we twist it once. There you have a perfect Korean donut. And I'm going to go ahead and put this aside on my tray. And this will further swell up some more. Okay, we are done rolling the donuts out. As you can see, this one is so much bigger. Look how much bigger this is compared to the one I just did. See? Much bigger. So there, now we are going to let this rest for a few minutes, and make sure you turn them around. And now we're going to get to fry them. You're going to dip this into the hot oil. It's on 350. Yeah, it does quickly. Fluffy pillows. Make sure it is golden brown. Crispy on both sides. Amazing. Okay, so you're gonna mix that sugar and cinnamon that you set aside earlier, mix it well, and you're gonna pour some in a bag. You can pour some in a paper bag or a Ziploc bag if the donuts are cooled. So I'm gonna pour some in there, half of it, and then I'm gonna take one of my donuts, throw it in there, and shake it around. And coat the donut really well, and then take it out, and you have a nicely sugared donut. We'll do another one. Take your donut, put it in the bag with the sugar and cinnamon, coat it completely. Let it get all into those corners and take it out, and you're done. It's crunchy.
So crunchy on outside. Moist inside.
You don't even talk like that. Stop. Crunchy on outside.
Crunchy outside. Get that? Click, click. Click, click.
So here's Miriam's donut. She made the American version with the same dough, same process. Mmm. It actually tastes really good. It's my turn, my turn. Okay, so it should be a little crunchy on the outside. Can you hear that? And sweet. This would go really well with a beer, but I don't drink beer. Or it would go well with some tea or coffee or even a milkshake. You want some? I think you should try it. Compared to an American donut, this is a lot lighter and not as sweet, because I've eaten donuts before and this batter only had 3 tablespoons of sugar, so it's really not that sweet. Most of the sugar you'll see is on the outside, so it's definitely very light, and if you don't like dessert that's too sweet, this would be good.